So that's why it's so important for people to stand up for those rights, folks. And all police officers, Homeland Security personnel, Army personnel, all people, anybody who disobeys that document is guilty of crimes against their nation. I really believe that, because that is the most important document in America. It is the document that makes America what it is. It is the document that the President is sworn to protect and uphold. It is the purpose of the President's office to uphold and protect that document. And yet all we've seen from a long line of United States presidents is more and more war in foreign nations under the pretext of keeping people safe. All it's been has been an expansion of the banking empire, an expansion of the banking dynasty that is being conducted through the military control center of the empire of the three cities. The empire of the three cities, of course, being the central core of London, which is the center for monetary control, the central core of Rome, which is, of course, Vatican City, which is the center for spiritual control, and Washington's District of Columbia, which is, of course, the center for military control. And it is these three centers which ultimately control the world, and control of the world and of the population and of the governments of the world is achieved through control of the financial system, the global financial system. This is why every country that was mentioned in George Bush's axis of evil just happened to be every country in the world that didn't have a central banking system. Little penny should drop there for you folks. So the whole thing is about an expansion of power through control of the banking system. So this is why America was never actually founded as a country. It was founded as a corporation. The United States of America is a corporation. It is not a country. And as for the Commonwealth of Australia, well, the Commonwealth of Australia isn't a country either, folks. The Commonwealth of Australia is actually a corporation that is listed on the Stocks and Indexes Exchange in the District of Columbia in Washington. So it's a sordid tale, folks. It's a sordid corporate tale that we are all involved in. And we need to free ourselves from this corporate control, these shackles, by a simple case of non-compliance to their rules, non-compliance to the laws that they're putting in place, non-compliance to their system. Think about what they've done to the world, folks. Think about what they are doing to the population, the depopulation of the world that's occurring through this completely contrived swine flu, through the control of food, through the control of water. You've got these massive chemical companies that had nothing to do after World War II, companies like IG Farben and these huge chemical conglomerates. They had nothing to do after World War II, so they started controlling agriculture, they started controlling the private medicine trade, they started controlling vaccinations. Most children have had like 35 vaccinations by the time they enter school. It's ridiculous, folks. The amount of bacteria and biological agents they're putting in these people to manufacture a sick society that is dependent upon pharmaceutical companies. They take over the food industry, they genetically control food, and they genetically control you by genetically controlling the food. They alter the DNA of the food, which alters the DNA of the people who consume the food. They genetically modify the human race to suit their needs. This is what the eugenics plan is, the control that these people have put in place. And it continues because we allow it. This control is what is ruining the world. All of the environmental damage that's being done everywhere, this has all been done by corporations. They blame you. They tell you you've got to turn your lights off, you've got to pay carbon taxes because it is you, the consumer, who is destroying the world. Well, they're right to a certain degree, because it is the consumers, it is the people, it is we the people who support the companies who are destroying the world. What we have to do is stop supporting this system. Start doing what's right. Put yourself in a state of love. Put yourself in a state of unconditional love all the time in all that you do. Understand your connection to everybody else and everything else, and the whole system breaks down. So folks, everything that I've been talking about on this show today, I hope I've been providing you with a different way of looking at things. If perhaps some people who are out there and you're involved in the spiritualist New Age movement, if you could understand that you need to address things on a physical level as well. It's a two-step process. And people out there who have blinders on to what's going on and perceive there to be division amongst people, perhaps if you could just maybe look at things a little bit deeper and just really see that there is no division. There's truly only one of us here, and all we are experiencing are different aspects of each other, different aspects of the consciousness that is the mind of God, that is the mind of the Creator. All experience must be experienced, all perspectives must be experienced, every possibility has to be experienced, and that is why everything is the way it should be. Stop trying to categorize people, stop categorizing things as good and evil. Just understand that things are sometimes polarized towards different aspects and different energies. We can't blame the people who are doing the bad things in the world, because they're only doing them because they can get away with it. And the only reason they can get away with it is because we let them get away with it. And this goes very much for police officers and army personnel. You really need to think about what you're supporting when you choose to obey corrupt legislation. You need to look at legislation, you need to look at the laws that are being handed down to you, and you're being told to enforce these types of laws. You need to understand that some of these laws may be corrupt. You need to analyze some of these laws and see and ask yourself the question, is this law benefiting humankind? Will the average people on the street, will my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my daughter, my children be better off because this law is in place? When I go out and I pull out my taser and I tase a defenseless member of the public, understand that I'm agreeing for this to be done to my daughter, to my son, to my mother, to my father, to myself. That's what's happening. Police officers need to look at what they are doing. Don't just believe the propaganda that is fed to you by the government. I'm sure that many members of the Gestapo also felt very pleased with themselves and very proud, and many of them probably thought that they were doing the right thing when they went out and terrorized all the people that they did during World War II. It's important for people to look at the biggest perspective in everything that they do. And that goes doubly for members of the police force, for the citizens that make up the members of the police force. Because that's what they are, folks. Ultimately, that's what these police officers are. Above and beyond anything else, they are citizens. And they need to realize that their first job, their real mandate, is the protection of their fellow citizens, not the protection of the elite criminals who are running the governments. Defending elitist corruption is the mandate of most modern police officers, and that is a matter that seriously does need to be addressed by those officers. They need to figure out where their priorities really lie, where their real priorities should lie with their fellow citizens and their fellow human beings, or whether it should lie with the people who sit at the top, who pull all the strings. So it's getting very close to the end of the show, folks. Don't forget to visit thecrowhouse.com. Please support the Facts to Stop the Vax program. please support Global Non-Compliance Day on the 25th of August. And don't forget the great intention that happens every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Put the love into the field, folks. We are making a difference. I very much believe that we are. I think that a lot of the awakening that has been occurring around the planet has been due to things like the great intention. I really feel that the energy field is changing and becoming something far more positive. I think we're in for a very interesting few years, folks, the next few years. I do believe we will see some major changes in very, very many aspects of our lives on this earth within the next 3 or 4 years. And I think it's a most exciting time to be alive. I look forward to speaking to you again next week. Please take care, do the right thing in all that you do, live in love, put away the fear, and I will speak to you next week, folks. Goodbye for now.